the billionaire had spent millions searching for a miracle that never came. The world's finest specialists had examined his little daughter, advanced technology had been tested, and countless promises had faded into disappointment. Yet on an ordinary afternoon, inside a quiet charity event, a single father with the calm eyes of a former Navy SEAL reached into his worn backpack and gently pulled out something so unexpected that everyone in the room stopped breathing. Seconds later, the billionaire's deaf daughter experienced a moment her family had almost given up believing would ever happen again. Nobody in that room could have imagined that the greatest gift would not come from wealth, but from a man who had already lost almost everything. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, compassion, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to spread kindness for more emotional stories that remind us humanity is still alive. Michael Brooks was 38 years old, a widowed single father raising his 9-year-old son Ethan in a small apartment on the edge of the city. Years earlier, Michael had served with distinction as a Navy SEAL, completing missions that demanded extraordinary courage, discipline, and sacrifice. But no military training had prepared him for losing his wife, Sarah, to a sudden illness. After returning home, medals and recognition meant very little. His greatest mission became giving Ethan a safe, loving childhood despite limited income and endless challenges. Michael worked as a maintenance technician at a community center during the day and took evening repair jobs whenever they became available. Every dollar was carefully planned because even a small unexpected expense could disrupt their entire month. Despite carrying the weight of grief, Michael remained a man of quiet compassion. He volunteered during weekends at local organizations helping children with disabilities. Over time, he learned basic American Sign Language from volunteer instructors because many children at the center communicated through signs rather than spoken words. What began as a simple effort to make children feel included slowly became one of Michael's greatest strengths. Ethan joined him every weekend, learning signs alongside his father until communicating through hand movements became as natural as speaking. Neither of them imagined that those simple volunteer hours would someday change another family's future forever. Across the city lived billionaire entrepreneur Richard Harrison, founder of one of the country's largest technology companies. Towering office buildings, luxury homes, private aircraft, and international success surrounded his life, yet none of those achievements eased the heartbreak inside his mansion. His 8-year-old daughter, Lily Harrison, had been profoundly deaf since birth. Richard loved her beyond measure, but every expensive consultation ended with another carefully worded explanation that no treatment could guarantee meaningful improvement. He refused to stop searching, but each passing year quietly chipped away at his hope. More painful than Lily's deafness was watching people misunderstand her. Strangers often assumed she could not understand them, classmates sometimes excluded her, and adults frequently spoke around her instead of directly to her. Richard promised himself that she would never feel less valuable because of something she could not control. Every year, the Harrison Foundation organized a large community charity festival supporting families, veterans, and children with disabilities. This year's event welcomed hundreds of visitors, volunteers, and non-profit organizations. Michael volunteered with Ethan, helping set up booths and repairing equipment before families arrived. While carrying supplies near the children's activity area, Michael noticed Lily standing quietly beside a craft table. Although surrounded by people, she looked completely isolated. Volunteers smiled politely but struggled to communicate with her, leaving her watching the excitement from a distance. Michael gently greeted Lily using sign language. Her face immediately changed with surprise before a wide smile slowly appeared. For perhaps the first time that day, someone spoke directly to her in the language she understood best. Ethan quickly joined the conversation using signs as well, making Lily laugh as they began creating colorful paper airplanes together. Nearby staff members stopped working for a moment, amazed by how naturally the three connected. Richard witnessed the entire scene from across the garden. For months he had watched experts focus on medical solutions, yet this stranger had accomplished something equally precious within minutes. He had made Lily feel seen instead of different. Later that afternoon, heavy rain forced guests inside the convention hall. During the confusion, a decorative lighting structure became unstable after strong wind entered through an open loading entrance. Michael's years of military training immediately recognized the danger before anyone else noticed. He quickly guided families away from the area, secured the unstable equipment, and calmly organized volunteers to clear the space without creating panic. His actions prevented what could have become a serious accident. Richard watched the situation unfold with admiration. The same man who had connected with Lily through kindness had now quietly protected hundreds of strangers without asking for recognition. After the event concluded, Richard personally searched for Michael. Instead of offering a reward for preventing the accident, he wanted to understand the man behind such extraordinary humility. He learned about Michael's military service, the loss of his wife, the financial struggles of raising Ethan alone, and the volunteer work that had introduced him to sign language. Michael never described himself as a hero. He simply believed every child deserved to feel included and every person deserved respect regardless of circumstance. Richard could not stop thinking about what he had witnessed. His company was preparing a nationwide initiative focused on accessibility, inclusive communication, and technology designed to help families living with hearing differences. The project required leadership from someone who understood both discipline and compassion. Executives suggested experienced consultants with impressive resumes, but Richard believed genuine character could never be listed on paper. He invited Michael to help lead the Foundation's new community outreach division, ensuring programs reached schools, hospitals, veterans, and families who often felt forgotten. The opportunity included financial stability, flexible hours for Ethan, and resources to expand accessibility programs across the country. Michael accepted, not because of the salary, but because it allowed him to serve people once again. Ethan proudly watched his father transform hardship into purpose. Lily became one of the Foundation's strongest young ambassadors, encouraging children to embrace communication in every form. Instead of feeling isolated, she inspired classmates to learn sign language, proving that understanding begins when people make the effort to connect. Months later, one of the Foundation's biggest achievements arrived during an educational conference where hundreds of students, teachers, and families gathered. Michael stepped onto the stage carrying the same worn backpack he had used at the charity festival. From inside, he carefully pulled out a small collection of simple handmade sign language flashcards and a notebook filled with lessons he and Ethan had created together during years of volunteering. They were not expensive devices or revolutionary inventions. They represented patience, kindness, and thousands of hours spent making communication easier for children who often felt invisible. The audience stood in silence before erupting into heartfelt applause. Richard realized that the object Michael had pulled from his backpack had never been about paper cards. It symbolized hope freely shared without expecting anything in return. The Foundation expanded rapidly, bringing sign language education into schools, libraries, community centers, and public workplaces. Families who once struggled to communicate found confidence through programs inspired by one single father's quiet dedication. Michael often reminded volunteers that changing a life rarely begins with wealth. It begins with choosing to care when nobody expects you to. If this story touched your heart, please write in the comments, "Kindness speaks louder than words." Your comment may encourage someone who needs hope today. As the years passed, Lily continued growing into a confident young woman who inspired countless others through her resilience. Michael and Ethan never forgot the difficult days that shaped them, because those struggles became the reason they recognized pain in others. Richard discovered that the greatest investment he ever made was not in technology or business, but in people whose hearts remained generous despite life's hardships. Together they proved that true miracles are not always about restoring what was lost. Sometimes they are about helping someone realize they were never incomplete to begin with. Before you leave, if this story moved you, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to spread kindness. Every like, every comment, and every share helps these stories reach someone who may need a reminder that compassion, courage, and second chances still have the power to change the world.